walks among you.
I'm gay.
You know, I've been talking about zombies, mutants, and demons, and just other disgusting things for so long, I figured what else could give our life expectancy the proverbial downsizing? Well, for a downgrade, sometimes we need an upgrade, so I figured what's something close to a robot uprising like Skynet that fits in a video game setting? No, I'm not doing Deus Ex or Detroit Become Human. No, we're doing a scenario that literally forced the creation of an organization to pacifically stomp out the uprising and rebellion of artificial intelligence with varying success. This week, we are sending out the recall signal to the... What the hell? Do I hear bagpipes? It's getting louder. Holy shit!
Alright guys, it's Raktak here, and this week you fucks are going to be taking a look at the rejects from an underpowered Justice League iBot 3.0, follow the meta or get banned for trolling, a game plagued by Smurfs. Blizzard Vision responds to it, of course, by permanently lowering the price of it, so now everyone can do it. What, did you think people would actually get banned? What else? Oh yeah, TikTok, I'm already Tracer shit, play nice, play fair, everyone is welcome here in the ultimate retreat for outcasts and retards. Inclusion and diversity is the brand promise, with nearly 30 options for countering your enemies, but you won't climb the fucking ranks unless you become a filthy one-trick. And how is it that somehow an angel, a dwarf, a time-skipping lesbian, and an old-age pensioner from Germany with a hammer can stop a goddamn uprising? Want lore? We've got it in abundance 3 times a year with this beautiful game that is actually a bag of shite, because this week we're telling you why you wouldn't survive Overwatch's Omnic crisis.
I'm gay.
60 years ago, humanity had progressed itself enough to massively produce artificial intelligence and robotics enough to help in everyday life, whether it be defense, manufacturing, and eventually integrated a whole new form of life in society. Although this term of life would be debatable for the Omnics in a percentage of the human population. The Omnica Corporation had sought to massively produce Omnics in developmental facilities called Omniums. The promise of artificial intelligence becoming a widespread tool and companion to humanity propped up a multitude of these Omniums across the world and most major cities. However, shortly after these Omniums were constructed, investigations found many cases of malfunctioning facilities and worse off, fraud, effectively shutting down the global Omnium industry. The Omnics produced during this time flourished and attempted a life of harmony with humanity for a time. The humanoid Omnics basically just mechanical men doing the same remedial crap we do day to day. However, some humans were wary of their foothold in society. Siege automatrons had been manufactured at SST laboratories purely for combat and wartime purposes, with most units armed with 1 or 2 machine guns, the capability to transmogrify into a turret, and even a smaller scale tank. However, the structures that originally sparked the creation of Omnics lied desolate and were pretty much vacant buildings gathering dust until 30 years later when a mysterious signal triggered and reactivated the facilities. A God program was sent out hacking into the mainframes of a numerous amount of Omnics, and multitudes of combat-ready Omnics and siege robots were created and immediately deployed and ambushed the world at large. Being attacked unknowingly out of the blue by Omnics that people thought were peaceful, the modern world was thrown into chaos in what became known as the decade-long conflict, the Omnic crisis. Starting in the heart of Russia, the robot model we know as Bastion, but serial code B73, was the most used model in the siege of human society alongside the E-54, a superior model in terms of firepower. Militaries struggled to fight back since the units were hardly even scathed by regular firepower and ammunition. The E-54 even had the capability to decimate and clear a forest in 10 seconds flat from its self-generating ammunition while in turret form. So did the B-73, but to a higher degree from E-54. Countries hastily reacted to this new threat in different ways. Russia developed Svitogor, translation as Sacred Mountain, sorry if I butchered that, but they are gigantic human-piloted Power Ranger-approved mechs. The United States implemented the Soldier Enhancement Program to, well, enhance their run-of-the-mill infantry in terms of strength, prowess, and agility. South Korea developed mechs to fight back against giant robots, and Germany designed the powerful Crusader armor, which, armed with their highly defensive light barrier and ability to wield heavy hammers, could suppress and push back against the onslaught of the B-73 units. However, for every counter-defense devised by humanity, Omnics had a further check. Originally being created in the Omniums of Nigeria, OR-14 units, or IDINAs, had also been created for civil defense and security robots. They were repurposed by the Omnic crisis and used to plow through the German Crusaders' heavy defense armed with a penetrating energy blade. Large populations were being wiped out, and it wasn't until the governments of the world came together at the United Nations, formulating a unified task force known as Overwatch. It was bringing in the best, elite, and overall most talented individuals across the world into this organization that the Omnic crisis was systematically quelled and stopped by destroying the Omniums, the god virus that brainwashed and hacked Omnics, and exterminated the Bastion units completely. Well, except for one little guy that was out there. The organization of Overwatch spurred economic, technological, and overall societal growth, being seen as peacekeepers with advanced tech, knowledge, and abilities. However, even with iconic heroes to help those in need and create a beacon of hope, a large-scale attack like the Omnic crisis would still have ramifications that would reverberate for decades to come. The humanoid Omnics were persecuted and treated as guilty criminals for the crisis, especially due to the fact that every Omnic affected by the God program that hacked them had no recollection or knowledge on why the crisis had been started in the first place. It is still a mystery to this day why the Omnic crisis even started. Being treated even more as second-class citizens in lesser forms of life, some Omnics were resentful and seeking to enact revenge on the oppressive human race. Across the world, different approaches were taken into bridging the gap of peace between the humans and Omnics. In Australia, the government offered the re-establishment of the Australian Omnium as an offering of consolidation to the Omnics. However, the human-fronted Australian Liberation Front, still less than ready to welcome Omnics back with open arms, launched an attack on the Omnium. While they were successful in its destruction, the preceding explosion from its reactor glassed a majority of the Australian outback, making it a nuclear wasteland, transforming it into a Mad Max type situation and even mutating certain people like Mako Rootledge into who we know as Roadhog, and making the Junker Society. Brazil had been hit destructively by aerial Omnic forces who carpet-bombed many other cities, including Rio de Janeiro. A large population of India had either been killed or displaced from their homes, which gave opportunity for the Vishkar Corporation to house the homeless and increase their developments. Mexico had seen widespread murders that left countless children orphaned, Sombra being one of them. Mexican cities also saw complete power loss in what was coined as La Medianoche. Crime rates were soon to soar after the Omnic crisis as well. Further and more violent developments also spurred, most notably in the UK, after the civil rights of Omnics were stricken and forced to live underground after toiling in hard labor for so long. An extremist faction of Omnics, known as the Null Sector, who repurposed defunct models of the B-73, E-54, and OR-14 and other robots, but in a purple coat, attacked London, holding it for hostage, killing hundreds and injuring thousands for the span of 28 days later, until Overwatch intervened against the will of Britain's government, with Torbjorn Tracer, Mercy, and Reinhardt coming into the fray. Years later, a peaceful tribe of Omnics known as the Shambali tried to mend the wounds from this horrible incident, with their leader Mondata giving a speech to the masses. He was shortly assassinated by Widowmaker of the organization Talon, a group looking to cause disorder and violence to keep humanity strong and wary of the future after what occurred in the Omnic crisis. No matter whose lives and well-beings they will disrupt and end, they will always assassinate targets they feel will keep humanity weak. Heading over to South Korea, they were attacked by a gargantuan Omnic that threatened them in the most Godzilla Pacific Rim type fashion that prompted the South Korean military to start the Mecha program to combat any Omnic threats that endangered Korean lives. Russia, even though one of the more powerful nations in the globe due to their technology, had been ushered into a second Omnic crisis, where upon the initial outbreak cost the lives of over 15,000 Russian civilians and troops. This is where the current events of Overwatch lie, as Winston sets the recall signal to reunite Overwatch, who had been forcibly disbanded by the UN and the Petra Act due to various scandals, negligence, corruption, and the ousting of their secret dark organization Blackwatch.
Alright, Zackaz, that's enough of that bullshit lore, like Blizzard even cares about the story of this fucking game anymore. First off, every major country in the world made their own types of counters to the Omnics, whether it be Russian kaiju robots, American Halo Spartans, or medieval future hybrid Germans. The Omnics easily figured out how to squat over humanity's chest and take a curly dump all over it. The OR-14s opened the German power armor like a can of tuna, and the last words from almost every crusader before their honorable screams rang out through the world would be, "Barrier is failing, foot soldiers for us is bastions for them." And how do you think that would turn out when there are turrets firing tens of thousands of bullets every second before turning into tanks and splashing human corpses everywhere? Now, before you go all Lord of the Rings on me and suggest that we should use the technology against the enemy, there's a fucking program that can hack into just about any artificial artificial intelligence and assimilate them into their army. So while you're all wrapped up with your mail-order bride Omnic, just remember that safe mode can be overridden and the teeth will come out. They even piloted carpet bombers and some Russian mechs to blow us to bits and stomp us flat. It took bringing the best of the best and altering the DNA of US soldiers like the goddamn Master Chief to even fight back, and that's all fine and dandy for the lore of Overwatch, but in a reality check, I doubt half the shit the world government's made in the universe would translate to our world. Being suddenly attacked by robots that can mow you down would require some seriously heavy-duty protection and defenses. These enemies are remorseless killing machines. Maybe an EMP would work to counter the numbers, who the fuck knows, but EMPs in Overwatch only seem to work momentarily on them before things are just rebooted and it's right back up to guns blazing. Now as a civilian, even if you somehow survive the initial slaughter, you've got to last 10 years of being hunted down by scarily aimbot accurate computer controlled sentries, killer sex dolls, and an ever-growing army of machines. Even if you survive the first Omnic crisis, you still have to live through whatever your part of the world is reeling through. Australia nuking itself to prevent omniums from cropping back up, Mexico, Brazil, and India losing most of its families to murder, the UK will cause an uprising that destroys the cities, the US are being bombarded, and even Russia getting absolutely cucked by AI. Korea, they seem to be alright, so long as it has gamer guys and girls protecting it with the mechs. Of course, they just stuff their faces with Dorito and Mountain Dew. You basically have got to be a superhuman or be saved by a superhuman just to survive, or yeah, just be super lucky. Overall though, being overrun by mechanical death dealers won't have any perks, and trying to get by, let's just say it's a slim chance. Modern technology and weapons would have little to no effect, and it is possible to say that Omnics could survive a little nuclear blast, maybe two. Do you think you'd survive? Well, if you do, you're probably a fucking idiot. Anyway, that wraps up this video. Did we miss anything on the Overwatch universe that could murder you? If so, I don't care, because I shouldn't be having anything to do with science, hypotheses, or anything comparing facts and sentences involving the words probability and variables. So sit down, shut your fucking mouth, and head over to my channel to subscribe there, because I didn't get paid for this gig. Alright, take it easy. Later.
Big thanks to Ragtag for stopping by and giving his eclectic voice to properly demonstrate how we wouldn't survive. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you want next. I know this was out of the blue, but I'm holding off the Metro video till the game releases shortly next month. I have other special guests planned for the future, so stay tuned for that. Donate to my Patreon or during my live streams to get shoutouts in these videos, which, shout out to Lovable Tester, Mario, NATO6141, Ricardo Ascension, Song of the Void, Irene, Twilight Duck, Cassiliv, Exploding Burritos Experience, Shilarby Turtlelord, DJ Cheatham, Kimberly, Summer Denny, Stubbs the Zombie, Twisted Trickster, Spartan AO54 Moose, Adrian Velasco, Uganda Knuckles, The Queen, and Slothic Goth. That about wraps things up, so until next time, I'm Zack S, aka Wow Such Gaming, with your guest host Ragtag. Stay wow,